This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 9th day of September in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley, thanking you for joining us. And here's what we're tracking tonight. Worrying signs again tonight about the COVID-19 situation in Guyana. The number of active coronavirus cases in the country continues to surge, with another 240 new cases recorded in the last 24 hours. 2 additional deaths have also been recorded. The new cases have pushed the number of active cases to over 2,700, according to the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony. It is the second day in a row that the country has recorded more than 200 new cases of the virus.
Well, this trend is going to go up if people are not taking precautions. And because what we are seeing now is a surge, as I keep saying, over the last couple of weeks. We were anticipating this because with a new, more contagious variant, we are going to see more cases, especially if people are going to be complacent. So if people are not wearing their mask properly, they're not doing the distancing, they're not sanitizing, they're gathering in groups and being very irresponsible, then we are going to see surges of cases. So right now, over the last 24 hours, for example, we have another 240 new cases. So that's going to take our active cases up now to 2,709.
According to the Minister of Health, there are a number of current hotspots in the country that continue to see a significant number of new and active cases of coronavirus. Those areas include Tushin in Region 3, Diamond and Grove on the east bank of the Demerara, Kitty and Sophia in Georgetown, and Monrepo on the east coast of the Demerara. The Region 7 town of Bartik is also seeing another spike in new cases, according to the Health Minister.
It is not only here. In every single region we have active cases. So people must take those precautions. And we are urging people to get vaccinated because vaccination would help to reduce your chances of going into the hospital with a severe form of COVID.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has also expressed concern that there are a number of persons who were administered with the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine and are still to return for their second dose to complete their vaccination. The Health Minister said there are about 30,000 people who need to return for their second dose of AstraZeneca so that they could be fully vaccinated against the virus.
First dose, people are coming. At least we are getting 2,000-3,000 persons a day coming out to get their first dose. But there's a corresponding lag. So people take the first dose and people are not coming back for the second dose. And if you are only partially vaccinated, meaning you only got one dose out of a 2-dose regimen, then you're not going to get full protection. And I want people to understand that. So having one dose does not fully protect you. It will give you some level of protection, but you wouldn't get full protection. And right now there are about 30,000 persons who are now eligible for their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. So they are within the 4 to 12 weeks period. And they need to come and get their vaccination.
This evening, worried health officials are encouraging persons to obey the COVID-19 health regulations, and persons are also being encouraged to get vaccinated. September is just 9 days old, and over the past 8 days of September, 33 deaths have been recorded and more than 1,700 new cases in just the past 8 days. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Strap in.
You know
that it is a fact. The deal on wheels is back.
For family,
Deal on wheels.
for security,
That's a fact.
for fun.
Deal on wheels.
Republic Bank Deal on Wheels is back. With same-day approval, reduced equity, longer repayment terms, and more. Plus, 3 lucky winners would win $100,000 each. Get the ride for you at Republic Bank.
I am willing to get vaccinated so that I may be able to go back to school, see my friends, and play tennis again.
I would like to take this opportunity to encourage parents with children between the ages of 12 and 17 to have them vaccinated, as the benefits of vaccination outweighs the risks. These children will be able to attend school, and this will help to prevent their learning loss and also enhance their social skills. Get vaccinated.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get your
color.
Buster, Buster $100. Dollar, come get your Buster, Buster $100. Dollar.
Let GBTI make your dreams of owning a home a reality. Buy or build your home with us. Let us help you to completely outfit your home and make it move-in ready. Need to purchase land? We finance that too. Benefit from our 10% down payment and interest rates as low as 4.25%. Calculated on the reducing balance with up to 30 years to repay. Switch your mortgage to us and learn about benefiting from the equity in your home. Invest wisely. Apply online or call your branch to schedule an appointment. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. With no slowing down in the increase of new COVID-19 cases and the clear presence of the faster spreading Delta variant in Guyana, the APNU-AFC opposition has issued a call on the government to commence an aggressive countrywide campaign to faster determine the COVID-19 hotspots and implement relevant measures in those areas to slow the spread. APNU-AFC Member of Parliament and acting opposition leader Royce Dilford, in an address to the nation today, said the science has already established that contracting and transmitting the virus is possible irrespective of vaccination status, and as a result the government must adopt other measures to stem the spread.
It is therefore a common sense approach that testing should be done across the board in order to able to identify and contain the spread of the virus. Testing should therefore be made available to every health institution across the country, free of charge.
Senior Counsel Ford reiterated that there is a need for proper public education and national consultation on COVID-19. He repeated the opposition's call for the government to engage all stakeholders to charter a better COVID-19 management plan. The opposition has indicated its readiness to work along with the government on such a plan. The opposition has indicated its readiness to work along with the government on such a plan. But the acting opposition leader believes the government does not appear too open to engaging with others on the way forward.
The need for proper public education and national consultation on these matters cannot be understated. The high-handed, dictatorial approach being adopted by the PPPC regime continues to erode public trust, resulting in an increased vaccine hesitancy. These issues, combined with the exponential increase in the cost of living, the increase in crime, and the high rate of unemployment, the insufficient supply of WHO-approved vaccines, the poor and deteriorating health care, lack of personal protective equipment, all combine to create a very unstable environment.
Meanwhile, the opposition is also calling for thorough pre-screening procedures to be introduced for children who will be receiving the vaccine to determine the existence of comorbidities that can provoke contradictions in the children. Based on figures released by the Ministry of Health, in the past 6 months, Guyana has recorded over 17,000 new cases of COVID-19 and a total of 426 deaths. Well, the protests by teachers against the government's vaccination policy continue this morning outside the Ministry of Education on Brickdam here in Georgetown. Teachers from the capital were supported by teachers from Linden and Berbice, who traveled to the city to join the demonstrations. The government's only statement since the 3-day strike action was called 2 days ago was that the GTU was uncaring to call the strike at this time, and that those striking teachers will not be paid for their absent days. The teachers who gathered today did not appear too bothered by the government's pronouncements on their decision to strike. Instead, they continued to voice their displeasure with the vaccination policy, which has resulted in scores of teachers being locked out of their schools because of their failure to provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test result. General Secretary of the GTU, Coretta MacDonald, said the Ministry of Education does not appear to care too much about the concerns of the protesting teachers.
September is Education Month. September is the month that was designated to look to pay homage and recognize our Amerindian brothers and sisters. And now today, this is what we as teachers, educators in Guyana, this is what we are faced with. On this day, during this month, this is what the educators are faced with. And we have our colleagues at the Ministry of Education who seem not to care. They are totally unaware of all that is happening, and they just don't care about teachers, and this is alarming.
The Guyana Teachers Union said the current COVID-19 situation in the country cannot be ignored, as there are rising cases in every region, and the government forges ahead with the reopening of schools for face-to-face learning. The GTU General Secretary said even the unvaccinated teachers are at risk.
Look at what is happening in our health system. Every day we see 5, 6, 8, 9 persons are dying from COVID. We are seeing our COVID hospital filling to capacity. And yet this very government doesn't see it fit to listen to the needs and the cries of our teachers. But I think they've gotten accustomed to being bullies and being dictators, and they are still thinking that in 2021 they can still do what they were doing 23 years ago.
And Ms. MacDonald also rejected the government's position that the protests and strike are being driven by politics.
And this has nothing to do with politics, let me say that, because I must remind that in 2018, Bharat Jagdeo in 2018, he lambasted the APNU AFC coalition in 2018, and he said they weren't listening to the teachers. I am wondering what is happening now. In 2018, Priya Manik-Chan had several posts on Facebook supporting the GTU when we took industrial action. But in 2021, you're hearing that the actions of the GTU is political. But in 2018, it wasn't.
The Education Ministry has said that despite the strike action and based on the rotational system currently underway in the primary and nursery schools, turnout by teachers for classes has been good. The ExxonMobil company today announced another oil discovery in Guyana. In a statement early this morning, the company announced that the discovery was made at Pinktail in the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana. The Pinktail well encountered 220 feet of net pay in high-quality hydrocarbon-bearing sandstone reservoir. The company said the latest discovery follows the additional pay in deeper reservoirs encountered at the previously announced Whiptail discovery, and these results will be incorporated into future development. According to ExxonMobil's Senior Vice President of Exploration and New Ventures, the discoveries are part of an extensive well program in the Stabroek Block, utilizing 6 drill ships to test play extensions and new concepts, evaluate existing discoveries, and complete development wells for the Liza Phase 2 and Payara projects. He said the exploration successes continue to increase the discovered resource and will generate value for both Guyanese and other shareholders. Meanwhile, Exxon has also announced that a Liza Unity floating production, storage, and offloading vessel has set sail from Singapore to Guyana. The new FPSO will be utilized for the Liza Phase 2 development and is expected to begin production in early 2022, with a capacity to produce approximately 220,000 barrels of oil per day. Exxon anticipates at least 6 projects online by 2027 and sees potential for up to 10 projects to develop its current discovered recoverable resource base. The Liza Destiny FPSO vessel is currently producing approximately 120,000 barrels of oil per day. Let's tell you now that the opposition in Guyana is standing firm with the Guyana government in its latest rejection of that accord reached between the Venezuelan government and the Venezuelan opposition and their claim to Guyana's Essequibo region. In a statement, opposition spokesperson on Foreign Affairs, Member of Parliament Amanzo Walton Desir, expressed the opposition's concern on the latest development with Venezuela and its territorial claim. In a statement, the Guyana opposition reaffirmed its position and support for Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and reminded that the matter is before the International Court of Justice for a peaceful resolution. Ms. Walton Desir said that the opposition reiterates its faith in the rule of international law in pursuit of a peaceful settlement in this regard, and their continued support of a national approach to safeguarding Guyana's sovereignty. Under the partial accord signed between the Venezuelan government and opposition, they reiterated the claim of Guyana's Essequibo region, while rejecting the involvement of the International Court of Justice to bring finality to the issue. In a statement yesterday, the government of Guyana rejected the agreement, making it clear that Guyana cannot be used as an altar of sacrifice for settlement of Venezuela's internal political differences. In the field of agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture has launched an investigation into allegations of fraud involving the distribution of the government's cash grants to flood-affected farmers. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa called for the probe after receiving scores of reports that there were persons who received the financial assistance and others who are listed to receive the financial assistance although they were not affected by the floods. There have been reports of padded lists and poor verification of claims. Minister Mustafa said the issue must be fully investigated.
There are a number of persons who are making allegations that some people on the list should not receive checks or receive payments. As Minister of Agriculture, I welcome those information and I will need the evidence so that we can deal with it if there are any. Because many times people are saying that someone is not entitled, but when we ask the correct name, they don't have the evidence. So there were some allegations on the social media yesterday. I sent out the entire leadership of NARI to investigate it in BOT, and when they went there, they didn't get the evidence that those issues that were raised on the Facebook posts or the social media.
Hundreds of farmers have already received the millions of dollars in flood relief aid, and from the onset of the distribution exercise, complaints arose about padded lists and unaffected farmers making claims and benefiting from the relief.
So I will ask that, yes, we must have proper accountability, we must have transparency. I know for a fact that there are allegations, but let us get the evidence and I will deal with it. If anyone names are on the list that should not be on the list, then as minister I'm willing to entertain the discussion and have those names removed as long as we can prove that those persons are not entitled for any flood relief.
The Agriculture Ministry started the flood relief distribution for farmers in regions 5, 6 and 10. This weekend, farmers in the Region 2 communities are expected to receive the relief. The Agriculture Minister said there must be proper accountability in the distribution of relief money, and he welcomes any information that will aid in the investigations.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster,
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, let's head across to neighboring Brazil, where the Chief Justice of Brazil's Supreme Court said that the President Jair Bolsonaro was undermining the top court by encouraging people to disobey its rulings, after the far-right leader said he would not accept decisions by one of its judges. The Supreme Court will not tolerate threats to the authority of its decisions, said the Chief Justice. The President had called the rallies to protest his perceived enemies in Congress and the top court. Bolsonaro told backers that he would not obey Justice Alexandre de Moraes, who was leading an investigation into accusations that Bolsonaro and his allies attacked democratic institutions by promoting misleading information on social media. Brazil's real currency slumped more than 2% yesterday under institutional tensions and Bolsonaro's threats that he might not respect the results of next year's elections, which opinion polls suggest he will lose. In Jamaica, arguing that some Jamaicans may not be grasping the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic and understanding the need to be vaccinated, two Westmoreland leaders are calling for the messages to be simplified. Custer Hartley Barron believes that breaking down the COVID-19 messaging will make more persons willing to take the vaccine and boost compliance with restrictions. He believes that there is also need for simpler language during the government's weekly COVID-19 press conferences. He argued that since the advent of the pandemic, several unfamiliar phrases are still not being understood by several persons. And the president of the Westmoreland Chamber of Commerce and Industry has argued that in addition to making the messaging easier to understand, the government of Jamaica should make greater use of social media to reach citizens. And finally tonight, international news. U.S. President Joe Biden is toughening COVID-19 vaccine requirements for federal workers and contractors as he aims to boost vaccinations and curb the surging Delta variant that is killing thousands each week and jeopardizing the nation's economic recovery. Just weeks after he mandated that federal workers get shots or face rigorous testing and masking protocols, Biden will sign a new executive order to require vaccination for employees of the executive branch and contractors who do business with the federal government, with no option to test out. That's according to the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. After months of using promotions to drive the vaccination rate, Biden is getting firm and risking fresh backlash. The White House press secretary said the president's overarching objective is to reduce the number of unvaccinated Americans, noting about 80 million adults remain unvaccinated. Biden's order includes exceptions for workers or contractors seeking religious or medical exemptions from vaccination, according to the White House. Federal workers and contractors will have 75 days to get fully vaccinated. Those who do not comply will be referred to their agency's Human Resources Department for counseling and discipline, including potential termination. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.